Here's an introduction to Gregorian chant conducting, which is called chironomy, the Arsis Thesis motions, and why all of this is important. Let me sing something for you the way I was first taught to sing it. Let all mortal flesh keep silence, and in fear and trembling stand. Ponder nothing earthly minded, for with blessing in his hand, Christ our God to earth descendeth, our full homage to demand. Now I'd like to sing that same piece of music for you, but with a sense of what this conducting system does for us. Let all mortal flesh keep silence, and in fear and trembling stand. Ponder nothing earthly minded, for with blessing in his hand, Christ our God to earth descendeth, our full homage to demand. Chironomy and the Arsis Thesis gestures are designed to get the maximum amount of expression out of a single vocal line. They don't help as much when you have harmony involved, which is why they're perfect for Gregorian chant. When you teach Arsis Thesis, here are the basics of how you teach it. First off, you want to get the children used to making a sideways figure 8. And the words they're going to use are Arsis Thesis, Arsis Thesis, Arsis Thesis, Arsis Thesis, Arsis Thesis, Arsis Thesis, until they're comfortable with that. Most of the chironomy is in groups of 2. It's rarer to have a group of 3 than a group of 2. The first few songs that we work with are going to all be in groups of 2. Then they're all going to be in groups of 3, and it won't be until the next cycle that we hit a song that has mixed groups of 2s and 3s. To teach the combinations, there are a couple of different combinations. The Arsis is for when there's a rise, or there's a forward motion, or a sense that the melody is building. And a thesis, there's a sense that things are kind of staying the same, or they're resting a little bit, or maybe they're dying away. Not always when the melody goes up is there an Arsis. Not always when it goes down is there a thesis. Sometimes that'll vary a little bit. Right now you'll have directions. Your common groups. The first one, 3 Arsis and then 1 thesis. It's going to look like this. Arsis, 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 thesis. Do that one more time. Arsis, 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 thesis. Here's a piece of music where we would use that. Humbly we adore thee, Christ Redeemer King. There's a few extra theses on there, but you get the sense of what the forward motion is for that and how that would be used. Another one is Arsis, Arsis, Thesis, Thesis. That's going to look like this. Arsis, Arsis, Thesis, Thesis. One more time. Arsis, Arsis, Thesis, Thesis. So let's say for that one we would do Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Mi, Re. Let's try that one more time. Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Mi, Re. How about this one? Arsis Thesis, Arsis Thesis. Kind of done that a little bit. Arsis Thesis, Arsis Thesis. That's where your basic figure 8 is going to come from. That's going to look like Do, Re, Do, Mi, Fa, Mi, Sol, La, Sol, Do, Ti, Do. That pattern's also going to sound familiar to you. Another one's going to be Arsis Thesis, Thesis, Thesis. That's going to be when you have one big arc and a whole lot of theses. That's going to come up in several of our songs, but let's try it together. Arsis, Thesis, Thesis, Thesis. For this one, you want to have almost a little bobble as you're hitting the beats of the thesis so everyone knows where they are. And then I always close that at the end. Again, without using the word close at the very end. So it's going to look like Arsis, Thesis, Thesis, Thesis. So something like, ever a child can do, would be an example of when you have an arsis followed by several theses. This gesture is the hardest because you have to make sure that there's enough space without hitting the person next to you or any objects in the room. Those are the basic Arsis Thesis gestures. So you're going to have ones that have a lot of rise to them. You're going to have ones that have a lot of fall to them. They're all designed to get that expressivity out of the music that you saw at the very beginning of the video.